Sir, if I could ask you for just and as soon as we're out of here, you can move wherever you want to go.
I won't be here that long. I'm just
Okay, well, you be here as long as you want. We everything feels cool here. Oh, hey, just helping out. It's going to be a big day here at Fiddler's Poorhouse, St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 11 of Niagara 411 Live. Oh, before we get going, what do you call this? Kevin, any ideas? No? Irish handcuffs. Okay. Bad joke, good day for it though. All right, coming up on the program today, we have a Niagara Regional Police Service constable. We're going to see how their food drive is going. I think it's been going really, really well. For the first time in many years, there is going to be a huge concert this summer in St. Catharines at Montebello Park. And this is something that has been a long time coming, and it's been a long time ago, as I said, since we had the last one. And other things that are coming up, we might have a couple of call-ins that are coming in on the program today that we're trying to line up, or people have said they might give us a call. And you can do that too, and we'll tell you how you can join the program with whatever it is you want to talk about. So come on, let's get started down here. And I guess what... I got to run all the way down to the back today. We're in a bit of a different setup today, so we'll explain that too. You know, St. Patrick's Day being what it is. We'll see you in 30 seconds. Hey, look at this. There we are on our St. Paul Street streetscape, I guess you might call it. First of all, before we talk about that, which we're going to in a minute, Kevin, leave that shot up there. I would be remiss if I did not mention the resplendent regalia of our executive producer, Kevin Jack, today of WeeStreem, who puts this whole thing together. This is an award-winning hat, ladies and gentlemen. It's not often you see this hat. I think it's only come out maybe, what, 10 times in the last however many years you've been alive.
St. Patty's, David. I mean, there you are. These are, I mean, I think this is when the cans are still made out of steel.
Yeah, yeah. So that is some award-winning St. Patrick's Day hat you got going on right there. Now, we would have normally been in the office this morning, but St. Patrick's Day being what it is, our assistant janitor Seamus is in there sleeping, and I didn't have the heart to disturb him. He may be up and around and in here a little bit later tonight, but for now we're going to just let Seamus use the office and get a few good winks in. All right, so we just thought we'd come down here and help out Fiddler's Poorhouse on probably the biggest pub day that you could imagine over any course of any year. It's a great thing because people can actually come in here now and have a good time. Talk about good timing. Because like COVID is not the most Irish St. Patrick's Day friendly thing that ever happened, but hey, we're celebrating today, and that is absolutely spectacular. Now, let me tell you what you can get here, because I mean this is the day we promote pub-like activities, safe pub-like activities, I might add, to be politically correct. Guinness is on tap today. They got green beer if you want it. They've got $16 pitchers if you need them, $9 doubles, and the food is fabulous as well. So all of that is happening today at Fiddler's Poorhouse, which you will see we have a whole new look to, because we tried to make as much room as we possibly could for Seamus and his friends to come in and celebrate the St. Patrick's Day. So we're sort of in the back of the facility, looking toward that great big beautiful front window. And man, Kevin, what a day to be able to come in here. And actually, we didn't set up in the front window so that you could. You can come and sit. They're going to open up the door. It's an absolutely spectacular, truly spring, almost early summer kind of day, and it's going to be wonderful in here. So the door's going to be thrown open in the front at any given moment. We're going to be dancing to the Irish tunes, and it's going to be a great, great day to enjoy the first St. Patrick's Day of this new kind of COVID-free era. And here we are in daylight saving time too, and man, have we got a lot of daylight to save today. Gales Gas Bars fuels this program, ladies and gentlemen, as per always, and we appreciate them being here with us. Also, the support of Performance Heating and Air, Carlo and the gang. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. I know it's not exactly your culture, but everybody's Irish on this day. As well as Mark Shirk, Blake Shirk, and the gang at Verge Insurance. We appreciate your support as always. WeeStreem, Kevin Jack and Brandon Scram, the founders of WeeStream. Kevin, our executive producer. I am Lee Sterry, and we are here to have a pretty nice St. Patrick's Day with you. Let's talk daylight saving time for a little bit.
Sorry, Lee, apologies. Look at the weather out there right now.
Apologize.
Say it. 4 degrees right now with the sun. It felt like it was like 15 out there.
Yeah, I think I think that's underselling it. I think it's more than that.
Getting up to 15 degrees at 6 o'clock tonight. What a day to come down to Fiddler's Poorhouse and enjoy some of the beautiful weather.
Yeah, what does mine say? No, mine says 4 as well. Oh well. Anyway, it's going to go shooting up this afternoon. And if there was ever a great time for bars and restaurants to be able to, you know, maybe even convince people to come onto the patios, it's great. Daylight time forever. We talked about this last week. No sooner did Niagara 411 Live talk about this event, Kevin, and suggest that we not switch back, then this happens. I did not know we had this kind of influence on the United States Senate. I did not realize the power and scope of this program. It's amazing. The U.S. Senate passed a bill this week to make daylight saving time last all year, which might push Canada to follow suit. You might remember last week we talked about the fact that Ontario had kicked this idea around and really wanted to pursue it. And the only thing that they needed was the agreement of New York State and Quebec. And then we would all be in a happy place. We'd all be in this nice little daylight saving time circle. Well, there's the first great big thing to drop. In a video posted to his Twitter account, a Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey has said that the Senate unanimously approved a legislation that would make daylight time permanent all across the United States. Good for British Columbia as well. British Columbia announced that they were right on the verge of, you know, they're on the cusp of being pushed over the edge into the daylight saving time all year round. And it could happen. Now, it's not going to happen overnight because it's not just the Senate in the U.S. that has to approve this, which they've done. It's got to go through the House and go through the whole and the whole. Nancy Pelosi needs to weigh in, the opposition leader, and all this stuff. So there's a lot to do. There was a comment from last week's show. So there's legislation to stop this foolishness, but New York State is the holdup. Well, not really the holdup. There isn't legislation currently in place in Canada or Ontario to not move on, but it would probably happen pretty quickly if the U.S. went forward with this thing. Now, Kevin, there was another, and I can't remember the lady's name. She was a professor, and you know, somehow it always seems to be the academics that sort of throw a monkey wrench into the works. From some university out west, Vancouver, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but she mentioned the fact that it wasn't, she believed in staying with one time across the country, but not daylight time. She wanted it to be standard time. because that's the one that is supposedly, in her opinion, closest to the human body clock.
Somebody needs to muzzle that lady.
I think yeah, she needs a new job. More sunlight at the end of the day, good. Less sunlight at the end of the day, bad. Did it affect you at all? Do you have anything?
No, yeah? Never really do. I mean, I missed that hour of sleep.
Because the cops don't like it.
It affects me, though, in the winter. I hate it when it's dark at 4:45.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
If we could push that back an hour, I would trade an hour of darkness at 7 a.m. for an hour of light at 5 p.m.
Oh.
I think everybody would.
Every single day of the year, which is why... and I think the only reason it messes up our body clocks, as the professor, the prof, was talking about, is just because it's the change. If we were to stay with daylight, our body clocks would... human beings are pretty resourceful. We're pretty flexible. And I think that our biology would catch up, and we'd be fine if we didn't flip-flop back and forth.
It'd actually be pretty easy.
I think so. I mean, I'm over it now. It took me a couple of days because I did feel a little funky, but I'm over it now.
It'd be a lot easier than our current system where we're changing the clocks arbitrarily every spring and every fall.
You know,
we just never change the clocks.
You know what's cool for me, though? Is because dogs don't know any different. Like animals don't. They just do what they're going to do when they feel like doing it. It doesn't matter whether it's... so my dog lets me sleep in now. She used to get me up at 7. Now she, it's at least half hour later. It's great. It's great. Coming up on the show today, Joel Carriere is going to be joining us. Joe is manager of a couple of bands that I know that you have heard of at one time or another. City and Color, as well as Alexis on Fire. You may be more familiar with Alexis on Fire. They've been around a longer time. But City and Color is also connected, and we'll talk more about that in a little while. But this is the first time in many, many years that there's been a great big collection of artists over a period of a few days in Montebello Park in St. Catharines. It's sort of like winding back the clock. It's called Born and Raised Concert Series. It's coming up this summer from June 30th to July 3rd, and of course it's going to run through Canada Day, which means it's going to just ramp up the celebration that much more. So we've got day one, we got City and Color, Sam Roberts Band, Busy Waters, we got Alexis on Fire, Billy Talent, Hot Water, and then they flip it around some, and of course the two headliners for this concert, for this few days, are City and Color and Alexis on Fire. Now, Joel is the manager of those two bands. He is also owner of Dine Alone Records, and he's going to be joining us to talk more about this at about 12:15 today. Also, it's been a pretty successful, I think, food drive for the Niagara Regional Police Service. Their spring food drive started, I believe, Kevin, what was it, Monday?
Yeah, it was a week-long initiative.
Yeah, got underway.
Catching the final 2 days.
Yeah, so Constable Jay McCarthy is going to be joining us. He is the lead on this NRPS food drive this year that benefits all 12 municipalities in the region of Niagara. So it's a great initiative for these law enforcement folks that look after us every day. And I'm pretty sure this is some of a real relief and some of the most fun and a change of pace for these ladies and gentlemen that participate in the NRPS food drive, and kudos to them. An interesting story connected to one of those locations, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So, Kevin, how was March break? We always use you and your family as the litmus test for everything to do with school-aged children ever since the whole COVID thing started almost, well, I guess it is now 2 years ago, March 2020. This is like the second anniversary of the big announcement of COVID, and our lives changed probably forever.
Remember last year, March break was pushed to April, and then all of a sudden, they never went back to school again.
Yeah.
So now March break was great. My parents came down, and it was so nicely to be in an environment for the first time in 2 years where we weren't meeting outside, meeting in the garage, keeping our distance, wearing masks, this and that. It was just such a normal visit. My parents could come in, get all the hugs that they wanted from the grandkids, and it just warms your heart. It was so normal. It was so normal, and it felt so great. So that was kind of the focal point of our March break. The kids did go down to Welland Monday morning and took part in like a little day camp thing that was Lego creations, and they just go crazy for Lego. On Friday, they're going to be doing a little hunt, I think like a treasure hunt out on Merritt Island.
Cool.
We'll go public skating and things like that. So yeah, really having a fun time. And I'll tell you, I can't wait to get home today. Look at that sunshine outside. Going to be 12, 13 degrees. We're going to tear up the backyard.
Yeah. You're talking about going for a drive and doing things. Just one quick little thing as a tip that you might want to be aware of. If you're familiar with that drive between Niagara Falls and Chippewa, there's that place called Dufferin Island, right? Okay, so when my wife and I drove by there, they've changed the entrance and the exit. They've flipped them around.
Yeah.
And it discombobulated me for a little while, because we drove past the exit. And I mean, there's no big sign there or anything. Where the sign is well, what is now the exit? What used to be the entrance, if you know what I'm getting at.
Absolutely, and that was a change.
I don't know why they did that.
They changed it this year. You know what? I think because of the backlog of cars, it made a little more sense, because it used to be the cars would all come from the Horseshoe Falls to go to the Festival of Lights, and the entrance would be on the south side.
Oh, and they figured it would be easier if you just went in that first.
Exactly, and it was a lot easier, because trying to get out sometimes there'd be a line of cars, and that would back everybody up. So I think it was a Festival of Lights thing. I think logistically it made a little more sense. We actually did go down to the Festival of Lights this year, and it was a little easier to get in and get around.
On that basis, I will withdraw any contrary comments that I might have been ready to make, because that makes perfect sense now. If you're coming, that being said, if you're coming from the other direction, Anyway, so just be aware of that. If you're a native Niagaran or have lived here for a long time, be aware of the fact that if you want to drive through there, now there really isn't any reason to drive through there right now, Festival of Lights being over, and unless you're a real cold water swimmer, there's really no need to go in there. But it just it got my attention. We have with us Joel Carriere is manager, as I mentioned earlier, City and Colour and Alexis on Fire, two great Canadian bands, and also owner of Dynalone Records. And Joel, this is going to be a pretty damned exciting summer coming up. This is cool.
Yeah, I'm really, well, not just me, but our office and the bands are really excited to go back home and throw a large-scale concert event.
Now, give us the genesis of this. When did you start trying to put this together?
Well, it was formulated over some late evenings at my office with my friend Naz at Live Nation, and then it started coming into play last summer. We started dealing with it and going for site walks and talking with the city and the different members of the city council, and just seeing if it was feasible from being able to use Montebello in such a way that it's like a 4-day large-scale concert event. And then we've kind of been plowing through, COVID in our way has made it a little difficult, but here we are unannounced, and it feels really good to have out there. It seems like there's a general enthusiasm, excitement across different generations of people back home, and even like leading up here to Toronto by the text messages that we're getting. People seem pretty stoked on it, which is nice to see.
One of the things that surprised me a little bit, Joel, when I first heard about this, even when it was in the planning stages, was the fact that municipalities like St. Catharines and others, I mean, I'm not labeling St. Catharines per se, but tend to sometimes be a little gun shy when it comes to putting on large events like this, and sometimes they take that discretion being the better part of valor sort of position and say, well, no, I think that's too big an event, or I think it could get out of hand, or I think this or that, or whatever. And for the fact that it was given the green light, I thought was pretty good.
Well, I do believe, now I have some acquaintances that are part of the city council, and me being 45 and having been in St. Catharines most of my life and throwing concerts and being one of the owners of Scene Music Festival for several years, I think, a lot of the people now that are in a position to kind of dictate whether we can or can't do this, saw what we did back then, and it was always a really enjoyable, good time. It was good for the community. It was never as crazy as people thought. Now, sure, there's going to be some noise. You move near a park. That being said, we've reached out to the local community and let them know, and the feedback's been pretty positive. We haven't really had any complaints from anyone. And, I think downtown St. Catharines could use a boost of energy. And I know the local businesses definitely could use a boost of energy, specifically after COVID. And so I think bringing like 40,000 people over the course of a weekend downtown isn't the worst thing.
Now, there is a connection. There is a sort of a DNA connection between the two headlining bands, of which you're manager of, City and Color and Alexis on Fire. Can you draw that lineage for us? Yeah,
sure. Well, Dallas Green from St. Catharines was in band Helicon Blue, then went on to join or start Alexis on Fire. Right. He'd always done solo projects in St. Catharines and around. And then so City and Color started shortly thereafter. I started Dine Alone with Dallas to put out City and Color and kind of give it its own identity outside of Alexis on Fire. Not that we don't respect and love Alexis, it's just giving its own laneway.
So the Dine Alone Records was an offshoot of this new initiative.
Dine Alone Records, we started this to put out City and Colors records 15, 16 years ago.
All right, sorry to interrupt, go ahead.
It keeps going. It's like there's a bunch of intersections, but to break it down, the most simple way is Dallas is in both bands. They have different audiences. They're in different genres, both very large, both very credible and successful, and we've worked really hard to do that as a collective.
Do the bands entertain together often, or
no? This is the first time in 15 to 20 years that City and Color and Alexis on Fire have played together.
Wow!
I think we maybe one of my scene festivals in the early 2000s. Yeah. Dal maybe played early and Alexis headlined. This will be like the first major scale event where both bands are the headliners.
Kevin, did you have something that you wanted to? No? Okay. I just thought I saw him waving at me in the background there.
Yeah, sure.
Well, if I'm going to hop in, talk about the lineups, because not everybody might be familiar with all the bands. And I think tickets go on sale today, right? Like 10 a.m. this morning.
Today.
So you did have something. See?
Yeah, look at that. This is great. Yes, tickets are on sale. The pre-sale happened the last couple days, but on sale, the proper on sales today. The line-up is predominantly Canadian, with a couple of our American friends. Most of the bands on the bill are friends of ours, so the bill was put together really with personal calls that we made to some pals, and in explaining, one, maybe where St. Catharines was, and what we wanted to do in St. Catharines. And so the bills came together quite nicely, with Sam Roberts, which is a household name based on his radio play, I believe, through 97.7 and Edge and Indie. And then Ruby Waters is an upcoming female artist from Toronto who's getting some radio play. And we've been bringing her, when I say we, City and Color, around the world for the last couple of years. She's unbelievable. And then Chastity is another friend of the family who's on Dynalone Records, and Dallas and George actually sing on a new song on a new Chastity record. And then I think the following day on Canada Day, Brooklyn Social Scene, I think, is a bit of a household name. Been around for a while, and they haven't played St. Catharines in about 20-something years. And I promoted the last show they played at the Hideaway in St. Catharines about 20 years ago. And then this band Elliott from Kentucky, we're just massive fans of them, and they're coming back. For example, I think even Dallas has lyrics tattooed on his arm. So there's a big pocket of people in St. Catharines, because I used to work at the Sam the Record Man, right? And I used to play Elliott all the time. So there's a pocket of people that are over the moon excited to see Elliott play. So the bill just keeps going, and obviously Billy Talent has a bunch of sold-out arena shows around.
Yeah, for sure.
Asking them to come play with us wasn't really difficult, because we've been kind of, co-headlining and playing with them around the world for a very long time. And Jordan from Alexis on Fire's in Billy Talent. So it just keeps on going. There's a lot of connections. Doom's Children is Wade from Alexis on Fire's other band, and he's opening on the Sitting Color date, and that's like a psychedelic rock thing, which is really cool. So, and then the Sunday night, all new up and comers with like a band called Pup, Cleopatra, and OBGMs. So we've tried to kind of cross over multi-generations, multi-genres, just kind of hit everything we can to make a really good experience for the fans coming.
It sounds like it's going to be a whale of fun. Now,
I hope so.
Yeah. Joel,
yeah.
Live music, it's no secret, has taken a hit over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Live Nation is probably one of the, if not the best known concert promoting companies on the planet right now. Obviously their business has been affected over the last couple of years as well. What, from a business perspective, what sort of risk is involved in staging an event like this in this brand new world we're living in?
Right. Well, Live Nation, like the people that are at Live Nation are working on this are also friends. So it's been pleasurable in that sense. But as far as the risk, COVID created a clog in everything, supply specifically. So when you're building out a new event from the ground up, like which Montebello Park is, like you have to think of everything from power to emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
Where the washrooms go, like you're building this thing from ground up. So when you're building it from ground up, it's usually par for the course. We know what we're doing, but when fencing has become more difficult to find and washrooms and trailers, it just took a little bit longer for us to really build this festival out based on having this wet blanket of COVID over us. And also we're doing it, we were doing this also locked down for what? We've been locked down for 2 years, but even the last 3 or 4 months with the Omicron, so we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't really meet.
Yeah.
It's been difficult for sure. Obviously, everything's more expensive, which is a bummer. Just when it's just economics, really. When supply and demand, when there's not a lot of supply and a great demand, everything just goes up in price. As I think all of our friends watching that we're trying to build decks and patios over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Saw.
What's the cost of a day pass? I'm assuming you can buy 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. How do you have the tickets priced?
I think the cost of each day was about $88.
Okay.
I think for the day, and then you could buy a 4-day pass for I think it was $250 or something like that.
Okay.
I think it was basically buy 3 get 1 free, and that was we know. It's a little higher end on the ticket, but comparable. Building a whole green space up was crazy. Being locked down for 2 years was nuts. And then we kind of looked at our peers, and we're in the price point cheaper than some. And Lady Gaga sells a ticket for $350 for an hour and a half show.
I was going to say,
$300 gets you a 4-day weekend, so it's not bad.
And it's what, like a 10 or 12-hour day?
No, we're keeping it. What we really wanted to do was keep it more of a concert series and a festival. So it's 4 bands a day. Doors are at 4:30. We'll kill it at 10:30. Some bands will play longer.
Okay, but this,
11s are
it's still six to seven
Yeah.
hours of entertainment for that money.
Totally. And we're definitely curating the whole site with the food and beverages and activations. So we're curating the whole thing. So you should have a good time and you shouldn't have the craziest lineups.
Now, this runs through Canada Day, obviously, because it goes from June 30th to the 3rd of July.
Yes.
So it runs through Canada Day. Is the city or other groups or what? How have you coordinated the whole Canada Day thing with the concert?
Well, it's not. We're just kind of looking at it as a long weekend more than anything.
Okay.
And you know, we've had different friends and acquaintances through the city council, like from the Parks Commission, that we've been working with, and we're going to be in town talking to the city council in I think 2 weeks. I have to check. But everyone's got a general enthusiasm towards it. Like having the independent businesses struggle the way they did, and we're not going to get into how our government handled it.
Yeah.
But you know, the independent businesses took a massive hit, and downtown's littered with independent businesses.
Yep.
So for us to kind of bring something like this to St. Catharines, because you know in Toronto, each one of these days would probably do 30,000 tickets on its own in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So to bring it to St. Catharines, which is our hometown, which you know we love and we just miss, and you know seeing our city struggle and even the music community there and arts kind of having struggled a bit, we're really enthusiastic to throw such an interesting concert series and. Hopefully people react to it, and maybe we can do this again.
All right. Fast. It's. I think it's just a huge bonus for Niagara as a whole, St. Catharines in particular, that an event like this has green lights and thumbs up and everything else to go on, because it's a little bit of a blast from the past, as we used to say in the old radio days. That a lot of people, frankly, Joel, were skeptical as to whether we would ever see these kinds of events again in our municipalities. And it's kudos to you and Live Nation and all of the bands for jumping on board for this. And once again, they say repetition sells. So tell us again how we find out more about you, where we get the tickets, and the whole 9 yards.
Tickets are on sale today. Ticketmaster, Born and Raised, I think it's called Born and Raised Music Series, or concertseries.com, or go to Dial Records. Or any of the band's websites. It's pretty easy to find, and yeah, it's a 4-day. You could buy individual tickets, or you could buy a 4-pack over the 4 days. Yep. And it's right downtown, so you know it's easy to get to. There's a lot of parking. There's Ubers, taxis. So it shouldn't be as difficult as the previous shows we may have thrown in Niagara Lake.
Speaking of that, am I right in the fact that you and Dallas used to both work at the Penn Center together or something back in the old days?
Proudly worked at the Penn Center. I worked at the Sam's Record Man for quite a long time.
Sam's, yeah.
And Dal worked at the theater. I don't know if it was Cineplex or Famous Players. And West 49, and I think he moonlighted at Sunrise Records as well. So yeah, we met in the mall. I sold him some records, and then he was in a cool band, and that's where all this started. That's awesome. Sam the Record Man at Penn Center.
So nice for it to be Niagara homegrown too. You know, I really just a personal note, a bit of a rant. What really bugged me is when Ticketmaster pulled out of places like Sunrise Records and things, because that was always the easiest place to go buy tickets for concerts. It just so irritating.
Well, I will say, when I left Sam the Record Man and went over to Sunrise Records right before I never had a job again and just created my own jobs, I hated selling tickets.
Oh, okay. I understand.
It was such a difficult.
I understand.
It was so difficult. But no, from the other side of it, having bought hundreds of thousands of tickets, it feels like in my life, I liked going to Sunrise Records at the Lincoln Mall to buy my tickets and talking to Chad and Troy. And
all right, I get you. I'm here to sell and talk about music. I don't want to be doing tickets.
Appreciate it. That's amazing. Appreciate you doing that.
All right, man. Joel Carrier, manager of Alexis on Fire, City and Color. It's the Born and Raised concert series happening in Niagara, June 30th to July 3rd. Great lineup. Just do search Born and Raised concert, and you'll find the website and everything there is to go along with it. Joel, thank you for initiating something like this, along with your friends at Live Nation, as well as congratulations for winding your way through the bureaucracies of municipal politics to get this done.
Right.
Because that's not an easy thing to do. So congrats, and we wish you all the best with the show.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone.
Take care, man. That's
Bye.
a hell of a bill. That's a hell of a bill on that cap too, by the way.
You know what? So I'm sure you gotta get off me. But like, I usually have a better setup, but I was late on a phone call with some, and then so I'm just on my phone in our little studio, and I'm looking at myself. I'm
Looks like you're from the platypus family.
Sorry, everyone watching. I'll get someone younger next time to do this for me.
Take care, man.
All right, bye.
That is a cap and a half. It's only because of the angle of the camera. Makes everything look. See how big my hands are.
That's Lee. I gotta say, I hopped on the pre-sale, the artist pre-sale, because I had to make sure that I got my tickets. I am so stoked for this. I think it's unprecedented in St. Catharines.
Well, yeah, certainly has been a long time since something like this has happened. As I said, a lot of municipalities across the country, and I'm not just exaggerating, across the country, shy away from large events like this because, well, people get afraid and they don't want public opinion to, and all the rest of it. But it sounds like they got all their security bases covered and all the logistics covered, and everybody's on board to make sure it's a professionally run event. Where you run into problems with events like this sometimes is if the people go into it not prepared. And that is certainly not going to be the case with this by the sounds of it. It looks like they've crossed all their T's, dotted all the I's, and everybody's on board with it. So it looks great.
Lee, a little later in the show, I was at Montebello Park. I was envisioning the concert, but I also came across some questionable graffiti. So we'll get to that story. The NRPS, they're doing their spring food drive, and we've got Constable.
Have we got Jay?
Yeah, we got Jay. So.
All right. Well, let's swing right on over to Niagara Regional Police Service Constable Jay McCarthy. Constable McCarthy, how are you doing today?
Good, sir. How are you?
I am absolutely great. Sir is my dad, by the way, so that's okay.
That's okay. Now
you are the lead guy, kind of, in this Niagara Food Drive this year. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, that's correct, my friend. I ran it last year as well, so this is our second annual community food drive. But being part of I myself being part of the community engagement unit, this is just one of many opportunities for us to get out in the out within the community and interact with the public. And what better way to do that is to run a food drive.
Now you started. This started on Monday, and it runs through tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. How? Give us an update on how it's been going and how you're doing with your goals for this year.
So it's going really good. Our goals are to beat our numbers from last year. So just a quick overview. It's 12 grocery stores over 5 days and supports 9 local registered food banks here in the Niagara region. Last year, over the 5 days, we were able to get roughly 21,000 pounds of food donations and just under $14,000 in cash. So far this week, I believe we're on pace to either match that or even beat it.
Right.
It's just I'm not surprised because I was born and raised here in this community, and it makes me really proud to obviously serve as a police officer, but the overwhelming support, it's just amazing. People want to help. And even with everything that's going on in the world today and the struggles that people have had over the last 2 years with COVID, they're always looking to help. And it's amazing to meet all these people, and it's a good opportunity for them to do that. And it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it.
A lot of people are not aware probably of the community group that is part of the Niagara Regional Police Service. Can you explain that to us? You mentioned the name of it a little while ago. Can you talk to us a bit about that?
I sure can, yeah. So what happened is for years we had a school resource officer unit. So that's still in play, but the service has really acknowledged over the last few years, specifically over the last few years, we've always been community-based, but they've really acknowledged that, hey, we got to do a better job and get out in the community and hit the ground running, like a little bit of old school policing.
Right.
You may remember, like whenever we used to have beat officers that would strictly walk the beat.
Oh yeah, those were the days.
And now we're focused. Yeah, and that was great because there's a large percentage of the community that just doesn't get an opportunity to interact with police and maybe say hi
in a positive way.
Absolutely, absolutely, right? Like when you're out walking the streets, that gives people an opportunity to just say hi and get to know you as a person and understand that this isn't who we are. This is what we do as a job, but it's much more than a job. It's a profession. But yeah, just getting to hang out with people on a day-to-day basis, just walking the streets and helping people, whether it's some homeless issues, youth in our community, whether it's at schools, at skate parks, or just when they're out walking the streets. So yeah, we have more of a community-based approach moving forward, and we got a lot of support from the service, and we definitely got the support from the community. So we're excited to do it.
Well, good news. Jay, when you said serving 9 food banks, now those 9 food banks or community banks, they actually ultimately serve all 12 municipalities in Niagara. For example, St. Catharines and Niagara St. Catharines and Feulled are sort of a partnership with theirs, and there are other Waynfleet and is it Waynfleet and Grimsby? I can't remember.
Waynfleet would be tied in with probably Port Cares out
Port Colborne. Port Colborne, yeah.
Yeah.
So all 12 municipalities do benefit from this drive. So I'm assuming the dollars and the food that are raised in these different locations go right back into those municipalities that you're located in. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that one. So, for example, today we have officers at 2 grocery stores in the St. Catharines. We're at the No Frills on Lake Street, and then we're also at the Superstore on 4th Avenue there. And all of that goes to community care, but it's community care St. Catharines and Feulled. So that community. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You finish.
No, I'm just saying that we'd like to be in every city, even the small ones, like for example, Feulled or Niagara on the Lake or Virgil. But all of those, everything that we raise goes to. So for today, example, all the food donations go to community care as a whole, but everything we raise today also supports Feulled. So tomorrow would be Niagara Falls. We're doing 2 stores in Niagara Falls. Everything goes to Project Share, but people from Niagara on the Lake can draw from that as well.
Awesome. When is it over? When does it end? And what's the 2-part question? What's the easiest way we can help, and how long is it running?
So we're on day 4 today. It ends tomorrow in Niagara Falls. We're going to be at Food Basics on Montrose, and we're going to be at the Zayers on Morrison, and then it ends at 3 o'clock. So we've been running it daily from 9 to 3. People can do one of 2 things. They can show up, they can donate food at the grocery store in person. They can give a monetary donation if they would like to, or people can go to niagarapolice.ca or feedniagara.ca, and there'll be a link there for the food drive, and my actual email address is there. So I've kind of put it out to anybody that maybe can't make it due to COVID reasons, or maybe they can't make it because they're traveling this week through March break. Or if a corporate sponsor wants to make a donation, then we can go that route, and they can just send me an email, and then I can help them out.
Awesome, Jay. I would be remiss if I didn't bring up this story, and I don't know if you can even talk about it or not, but something that just kind of made us giggle here was the story that I think it was at your Grimsby location at the Superstore there, where there were a couple of folks in the store shopping with the idea of not necessarily paying for what they were shopping for. Are you aware of that story?
So, funny thing, you know, me being the one responsible and organizing this event, I jump around from store to store and location to location to make sure everything's good to go.
Yeah.
Radio interviews, TV interviews, newspaper interviews, whatever. I just happened to show up at the Superstore around noon on Wednesday, and that's when the store manager came up and approached me and said, "Hey Jay, I kind of got an issue in the store. Can you help me out?" And so I was actually the officer that tracked him down outside.
You were the guy. You were the guy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's funny you asked that. So I was actually the one that actually tracked him down outside. I know there was a media release on it, so absolutely no issues talking about it.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it was, you know, a male and a female that went into the store, and they clearly took, it was just under $1,200 worth of goods. And, you know, with officers being at the front door, you would think that that would deter them. It obviously didn't. And then when they leave the store, we don't question them. We don't question what they have in their bag because we just assume that everybody paid for it, right? Like,
yeah, sure.
It's not like we're at Costco. We're going to check the receipt and, you know, throw a Sharpie mark on a 45-degree angle across it and say have a good day. But
yeah, of course not.
Yeah, the funny part was they decided to just kind of hang out about 25 feet from the door after they left, not knowing that it was them, and they were kind of hiding in the bushes and. With some help of some store employees and actually a couple customers, they pointed them out for us, and they were able to help us out. So again, some nice teamwork there. They were able to get all $1,200. We'll call it $1,200. I think it was just under of all their merchandise back. And unfortunately for those two people, they ended up had some charges come their way.
So what would somebody get charged with? Like attempted theft under $5,000, or
so that was because they actually left the store
yeah.
with it, and there's video of it. We have evidence of it. One of the employees seen them loading the goods into the bags. So that was a witness, and so it'd be theft under $5,000. And then I believe the one gentleman was breaching because he was he had done this multiple times, so he obviously wasn't keeping the peace.
Okay.
And being a good behavior,
well,
so.
it's too bad there. It's too bad as part of the code that there isn't some sort of stupidity charge, because that would be definitely applicable in this case.
Yeah.
Lee, can I just ask one question of
It happens,
McCarthy?
you know, but
sorry, it's Kevin here. I'm just off screen. I know you don't see me. Based on what you said, was this a case where in the store they went through the self-checkout and just didn't scan anything?
No, it's very common at that location for people to just go. So basically, they walk in the store and they grab some of those, you know, not the disposable bags, but the reusable bags, grocery bags.
Yeah.
They just grab them right there off the shelf, and then they go and load up whatever, and then they kind of make a run for it type thing at that store. Unfortunately, the store owners and the employees' hands are a bit tied. They usually have loss prevention working, but they figured with us being there that day, maybe they didn't need us. But apparently, $1,200 later, and
wow.
We're fortunate to be able to help them and get that stuff back. So
well, thanks for telling the yeah.
Yeah, I took the opportunity actually to kind of have a chat with both of them on a positive note as a form of rehabilitation, and saying, you know, here we are, there's 3 officers here trying to help the community. We're raising, all goes to a good cause to help put food back on the shelves for the food banks. I said, maybe instead of coming here and stealing food, especially and walking past 3 police officers that are trying to do a good thing for community members, maybe you stop doing what you're doing and maybe you go to the food bank and maybe you start taking that approach. But unfortunately,
good for you.
You know, the history with that. It's too bad.
Jay, I'm glad we have you and officers like you on our force. Congratulations on a successful week. Thank you for telling us that story. And what a great follow-up, you know, suggesting, hey, there are other ways that you can get assistance in our community. So well done. And again, congratulations. Good luck today and tomorrow. And I hope we have a chance to talk again soon. It was great. Thanks.
You bet. Can I quickly add one thing?
Absolutely.
So right now, I don't know if you can see it behind me, but I'm actually standing out in front of Post Cereal in Niagara Falls.
I can see that.
And the manager here for the second year in a row has very gracefully, and I mean, thank you. I tell him thank you. It just doesn't seem to be enough. But Damien's the manager's name here, and for the second year in a row, he's donated 250 cases of cereal to those 9 food banks. So that's what I'm doing today. That's why you probably don't see me with actual uniform on. But today I'm actually delivering about 30 to 35 cases of cereal to each individual food bank. I'm doing it in person and with an opportunity to maybe take some pictures and just say thank you to the food banks for all that they do. Of course, they want to turn around and thank us, but it's a very small part, and it's teamwork. If it wasn't for the officers, the food banks, the grocery store owners, managers, people like yourself, my friend Pat Porter at 91.7 does interviews. I got Coach did a TV interview. So you got everybody that's willing to want to help promote this for us. And I appreciate you taking the time to reaching out to me today.
Glad to
give me an opportunity to talk about this.
Happy to do it. It's what we're all about. Constable Jay McCarthy, leading the NRPS Spring Food Drive. Jay, thanks for being here. Thank you to Post that we see behind for that generous donation, and to all of you in Niagara for playing a part in this. Jay, enjoy your weekend. You've earned a bit of a rest. Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. And quick shout out to everybody in the community. We wouldn't be able to do what we do if it wasn't for all of you. Thank you very much.
You bet. Take care. Well, we kind of killed a lot of birds with one stone there, Kevin. Some great stories. There was a comment on that story below on Niagara 411, and I don't know who put it up there, but it was so funny. It's like, I don't rob grocery stores very often, but when I do it when there are lots of police around. Oh gosh. I mean, yeah, like that one comment says there are lots of shoplifters around. I mean, you see, I was surprised when I saw they've had more and more security offers at like LCBOs and places like that. And I was talking to one of the cashiers that I know there, and she said, "Oh, it's amazing how many people walk out of here with products, or try to, and a lot of them succeed too. It's amazing how they do. I don't know. I don't have enough guts to do that." But what a great story. Oh, a couple of people. But what I was impressed though too with, Kevin, is how Jay handled that. He had a conversation with these people. Instead of just clapping them in irons and throwing them in the back of a cruiser and sending them off to their fate, he says, hey, there are ways, if you're hungry, that the community can support you. And maybe you should use some of those locations instead of trying to steal it and get into trouble. And I thought, wow, what an amazing officer, what a great representative for the Niagara Regional Police Service. You deserve this guy. That is for sure. Okay, that's a couple of fun interviews. There's so many great things going on around here, Kevin, and I get the feeling that we are in this post-COVID bubble that is just about ready to burst wide open because of the repressed activities over the last couple of years. I think people are ready to do things. I think they're ready to feel things and help out and be innovative and open businesses or change how they've done businesses or reopen or expand or whatever. I was in one eatery in Niagara, which shall remain nameless, over the past week, and it wasn't anywhere near, not anywhere near what it was pre-COVID. The product wasn't anywhere near as good. The service wasn't anywhere near as good. Almost all of the people were new. These owners are starting to need to ramp back up, and it takes time to get back up to your former self. And I really wish for all of the companies that happens sooner than later, because there's some work to be done to rebuild what we're doing here.
Now, Lee, if somebody is looking to feel like their former self, we got a brand new sponsor on the show this week, and we want to welcome Yona's Authentic Beauty of Niagara, because that's exactly what they do there.
Yeah. Yona's Authentic Beauty of Niagara is located at 26 Juliana Road in Grimsby. And you saw that logo that Kevin threw up there from the Niagara 411. And the Botox and fillers and like all these beauty treatments and procedures that have become very, very popular over the years. And you can see all this stuff on Niagara 411 that is up there. One of the things that we wanted to mention to you, though, is that, and we talked to Yona earlier off air, just to ask her a couple questions and become more familiar with her business. She does operate out of a residential address at 26 Juliana Road, but she is a licensed nurse injector. Now, I myself had not heard that designation before, but apparently it is a very important one for when you're talking of procedures like Botox, fillers, and those kinds of things. You have to be well-trained, accredited, and reputable with what you do. And that's a designation that I had not heard of before, a licensed nurse injector. On top of that, you have to be a licensed nurse practitioner, like a regular licensed and accredited nurse in the nursing profession, accredited by all those associations in Ontario. And that is what Yona does. So that's kind of neat, and we thank her for kind of throwing her small weight behind the program. And again, we thank Gales Gas Bars for fueling this program, as they have done in Niagara for the last 50 plus years. It's been a rough go for gas station operators. We've had a bit of a respite over the last while because prices have moderated somewhat, but don't count on that continuing. I heard there was also a post I saw, Kevin from Gales, that our country's carbon tax is going to be going up again. Anytime you have a carbon tax go up or down, it affects the price of fuel. So we thank Gales for not only supporting Niagara, but also supporting this program. There's the graph right there. Now, it's too small for you to read on screen at the moment, but you can go there and increase the font and have a look at it. But did you know the federal carbon charge is increasing on April the 1st? And a lot of things, and I like the fact that Gales announces things like this, because these are things that normally happen, Kevin, behind the scenes. We don't really see all of this in the public eye. It's something between the government and the business, and they pass it on or not to the consumer, depending on what the situation is. So these are all the things that put pressure on that business. Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. April 1st to March 31st, 2022, it was at a certain level, and then beginning April 1st, you see it goes from 0.0884 per liter to 0.1105 per liter. Now, it may not, on the face of things, seem that much, but you add things, say you're putting 50 liters of fuel into your vehicle, now do the math. And the number of vehicles that come through your facility. Now do the math.
Lee, you're talking 3 cents a liter. That's significant.
It is significant.
Everybody's gas just went up 3 cents a liter, so $1.50, $2 every tank.
Yeah, and then the operator has to decide, okay, how do we handle this? We have another 3 cents a liter tax to pay. What are we passing on to the consumer? What are we not passing on to the consumer? Do we or don't we? And how much if we do? And it's a bit of a headbanger. So these companies have their challenges, and we appreciate the support of Gales and what you do in the community. Performance Heating and Air, Carlo and the gang. It's about time we had a chat with Carlo, I think, Kevin, in the not too distant future. Find out how his winter was and how spring's going on. Probably a good time for checking your furnaces going and your air conditioning going into the warmer season and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would think. Also want to pass along my condolences. I believe Carlo lost his mother recently.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To Carlo and the family, I know you're grieving. You are right, though, in saying that, hey, 17 degrees, if you're thinking about flipping on that air conditioner and all of a sudden you find that it's not blowing cold air.
Yeah.
Carlo's the guy to call. He's got a great team up there in Feulled. They're family people here, and they care about families in Niagara.
Yeah, Carlo, I had not been privy to that information, and our condolences to you and your family on the passing of your mom. It's a hard road to hoe. Virgin Insurance Brokers, Mark Shirk, Blake Shirk, the gang over there on Ontario Street, another born and bred Niagara company. We appreciate you supporting us here at Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. It's all, it's always a pleasure. Kevin, there was a few things happened this week. There was a picture that was really disturbing, and I suppose this is, for someone like me, it shouldn't be anything new, and we should be sort of immune to it. But that the needles, there was a posting on Niagara 411 that Nick put up. By the way, Nick, as always, thank you for the work you do. And Nick's mom, howdy. Again, hello, hello, hello. Sorry I didn't see your parents this week, Kevin. I know they were in town, but they weren't here during Niagara 411 Live, so I didn't get a chance to see them.
That was great. You know what we spent a lot of our time doing? Lee, was a jigsaw puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot what a great time it is getting together as family or friends or what have you. It just gets you all involved in a project, and you end up talking about this, that, and the other. And it's a great bonding thing.
I always loved puzzles. We used to do them all the time when we went up to the cottage. It's one of those cottage things. Because in those days we didn't have the cottage. We didn't have TVs, and there's no cell phones, and there's no computers. So you actually had to talk to each other and bond and do those kinds of things that you'd never do at home. And those are fun times. They're really, and you don't forget them either. They stick with you, and they'll stick with your kids. They'll remember that with what do they call your grandparents? What do you call them?
Grandma and grandpa.
Oh,
and well, that's on the other side.
Me too.
Other side, it's French, so they get père and ma mère.
Oh, good.
So it was pretty easy to just go grandma, grandpa. Getting back to that picture that Nick threw up, because I know it disturbed you and you wanted to talk about it a little more, and a picture paints 1,000 words.
Now, you might not be able to tell exactly what it is until you look more closely. This is a pack of syringes, of needles, just obviously left there after the melting snow. And is that not... That is a curbside somewhere in the city of St. Catharines, is it not, Kevin?
Yeah, it's right Oakdale Avenue. You can see there's a little park right there.
Yeah.
I think everybody's kind of at least driven down there a couple of times.
But
it's not unique to just that area.
No. And the reason I was pausing is I have a hard time trying to verbalize my feelings when it comes to this. It's almost like I shouldn't be this naive, but I would like to go through every one of my days believing that those scenes don't exist. But I know they do. And every time I see something like that, I feel sad for the people that left them there, I guess, it's a dangerous thing for people that are in the area that are children that might pick them up if they're walking around or whatever. Yeah, that's true. It's a safety hazard, etc. But I feel saddened for the people that left them behind. And I know that might sound corny, but that's how it strikes me. I wonder how they're doing today. What are they? Maybe there's some of those people that are breaking into stores to get money or do stupid things to buy stuff that goes into those needles. I don't know. I don't want to put, pardon the pun, to put too fine a point on it, but it saddens me a little bit. It does.
Now, Lee, speaking of, does it sadden me? I feel the same way you do.
No, I was going someplace else.
Okay, where are you going?
Before we lose time, we were talking about Montebello Park earlier.
Yes.
And you took your you said you took your family down there, and you had a story to tell. And before we run out of time, I thought maybe we should go there.
Right. So March break, we go down to Montebello Park. I mean, a beautiful day like today, we might go down again. And not syringes or anything like that. The Parks and Rec do a great job of keeping the grounds clean at Montebello Park. And I was envisioning the great Born and Raised concert series. It's going to come on Canada Day. My kids are playing on the apparatus, the playground there, and I came across. Well, here I'll pop it up on screen. What I came across here, Lee, and it's I found it kind of. I don't know if I found it disturbing or
kind of creepy,
stupid.
Okay, now that's the apparatus. You've seen these in parks where kids can make funny faces in the mirror and they look, and they get a giggle out of it, etc. But written, graffitied on that convex mirror is this.
It's very poor graffiti, by the way.
It's horrible.
Like, they didn't really make a good attempt.
Not much of an artist.
And there's the close-up.
Yeah.
And look at
so
the
we've got
flags.
in case yeah, there you go. We're looking at swastikas on a flag type drawing on either side of this stick person. So that's the first thing.
Like what pardon my French, like what the hell is this about?
Yeah.
Like really swastikas? Like we're really that's where we're at, Lee? People are
I don't know.
Like this is a joke graffiti. I don't see that being a joke. You know, you're right. I guess when I mean a joke,
there's no humor there.
It wasn't done lightly. What I mean is, it was like it's not good graffiti. I guess that's what I meant. Like,
but there's there's
so lazy. There's
I mean, if you were doing a cartoon, if you're doing a cartoon or something like that, you would think if you had any intelligence, you would be able to draw this image into a point, like of making a point. There's no point to be made here.
That's what I was trying to say. You just said it better. So then I started moving along the playground equipment. Okay, there's a larger shot. So you can picture that.
Yeah, again, there's the mirror.
You know, you can only really see it on the right angle. Because here, you're like, oh, right, yeah, there he is. There's that guy. And then on the pole, there's this.
My dad is the leader of the KKK. And then this conehead figure. Well, no, your dad is not the leader of the KKK, first of all. Second of all, your writing and your drawing is just as crappy as the other one. And again, you're making no point. There is nothing to draw from this. It's not a protest because there's nothing there to protest. It's obviously a white supremacist kind of person that did it, but why? There's no connection to anything.
I don't get it. And then there's this one where it's like, well, why don't we just take a shot at another group?
Now this one makes absolutely zero. This makes less sense than the others, and they didn't make any. Be gay, do crime. Oh well, there's a relationship. What? Be gay, do crime.
I was really more just disappointed in our city and also disappointed in these graffiti artists for their lack of artistry, their lack of messaging, and just the blatant disregard for sensitivity.
Yeah.
Just going after the real sore spots of society.
Yeah, like what's the point?
I don't know. Like,
what's the point?
KKK, Nazis, homosexuality. Those are the points you're making?
Going back to the way we were talking about before, I don't often do graffiti, but when I do, I'm an idiot.
No, I don't know. Maybe I should write citizens first or something like that and alert the city to it.
I'm sure people have reported it to the city fathers or city staff long before you've had an opportunity to do it.
Now my kids are seeing this imagery. I'm not saying they came to me and asked, Dad, what's the KKK? But, my daughter can read.
Sure.
So when she says, my dad is leader of the KKK or...
But if you're going to do something, make a point.
Be gay, do crime?
Make a point, at least.
Anyway, this is in Montebello Park right now. I honestly hope, Lee, that it's some teenager looking to get a rise or a reaction more than
But a reaction from whom?
like rooted white supremacy? I don't know. I mean, he got a reaction out of me. He's getting a reaction, not the one that I think they thought they were going to get.
Exactly.
But they're getting a reaction.
Because if there is a message here, they're not relaying it very well. My dad is, well, identify your dad, we'll go pick him up. You know, give us a reason.
Just disappointed in seeing that.
Yeah.
For all the reasons that we discussed.
I want to mention, before we go forward, that it is St. Patrick's Day. And this is the day that those of us in media always used to spend the time doing really, really bad Irish accents all day long and playing Irish music and stuff. And so I tried to resist doing any of that today, because there's nothing more irritating for any nationality than having another nationality try to imitate your accent and doing it badly. You know, like, so I always resist the urge, because it's always so much fun to try, you know, but
There we go.
I had to, but anyway, on this day, everybody's Irish, and we are here in Fiddler's Poorhouse, where they are serving Guinness on tap, $16 pitchers, $9 doubles, and the food is awesome. So, and they're gonna have a busy day. We've got this on this gorgeous early spring day that feels almost more like late spring, early summer. I don't know what the temperature is now, Kevin, but it was supposed to be going up to something like 16 degrees. The lovely garage door window is open with fresh air flowing through this. It's absolutely wonderful, and that's normally where we would be set up today. But in honor of making sure that we have room for you to come in and sit down and enjoy the open air freedom of Fiddler's Poorhouse, we came down here to the other end of the restaurant, and I have to admit, Kevin, I'm kind of comfy down here. It's
not bad at all.
There's the other view of the restaurant from the way back, and doesn't it look like an authentic UK pub? You got the dartboard there just over the computer, and we got the sports on TV, and we got the big the Southern. Kevin is bracketed by Southern Comfort and PBI, Pabst Blue Ribbon. And there you go, and of course Kevin's award-winning St. Patrick's Day chapeau, which we also thank our other Kevin Neufeld of Beau Chapeau and his staff for being kind enough to loan me these wonderful hats from the Beau Chapeau hat shop. And well, he didn't loan them to me. I went in, and there were police outside, so I ran in and stole some. And there it is, Queen Street, right downtown in the busy shopping district in Niagara on the Lake. You really do have to go in there. Once you go in, it might be hard to get back out again. It's impossible to get back out again without buying something. That I can guarantee you. So, and Kevin, I know you have you know Kevin. You, Kevin, know Kevin better than I do.
Yeah.
And we were talking, I think this was a year ago now or so, when they started planning the hat repair rejuvenation part of their business. You've been talking to Kevin lately about that, I think.
It's almost up and
ready?
running. I don't want to say it probably is doing some services now. I don't know if it's full bore,
Okay.
but it's going to be one of a kind in Canada. I don't know if there's anything that parallels it in North America, but it's really cool that it's right here in Niagara on the Lake in the Beau Chapeau Hat Shop. Who doesn't love just saying, "I got my hat at Beau Chapeau Hat Shop"? In
This was
Niagara on the Lake.
this was the very first one I bought, because I was tired of having a cold dome in the wintertime. This hat's about 3 years old now, and it's in like
It looks brand new.
Awesome, awesome shape.
Yeah, it looks brand new.
It is water repellent. It's comfy. It's packable. I don't know if you knew that you could scrunch it up and.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is that hats always get damaged, right? Especially when you're traveling. You almost have to bring a special hat box, and who has one of those?
And I have a few of them at home. So anyway, next time you're talking to our friend Kevin Neufeld, tell him when he finally gets this section of his place up and running, we want to talk to him.
Absolutely. We'll do.
All right.
Lee, we didn't talk about this, but just after, I think on Friday of last week, we had that great video that Nick put up of the fire sale at the Food Basics in Fawn Hill.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it was gripping.
This, I did put this on my notes to talk about today, and then I completely forgot about it. Imagine seeing this in your parking lot and your car's nearby. Highway 20, Food Basics, parking lot, Font Hill, vehicle on fire. I guess so. What always ticks me off about these, Kevin, is we never see any follow-up about what caused the fire. We get a lot of vehicle fires on this site, or have had, mostly in hot weather, which I guess will tip it off as to why. But how do these vehicles catch on fire? What the hell happens here? I mean, do you know? Do you have any idea how these things start?
I honestly have no clue, Lee.
It doesn't look. It doesn't even look like it started at the front. See, there's the front of the vehicle. Mm-hmm. You would normally think that it would be like an engine fire or something, but this looks more like it's a gas tank or something.
I have no idea. Electrical fire,
or maybe God forbid, maybe it's somebody that's a smoker. And I remember back in the days when I was smoking. Now, this obviously isn't the reason for this, but did you ever smoke, Kevin?
No, never.
Smoke cigarettes? Well, when you're driving and you try to throw the butt out the window.
Doesn't make it?
And it blows back in. That's a scary thing. Oh, I'm so glad I stopped that.
Look, there were a lot of comments, and people had, that looks like it's probably taken from... That
looks like rubber burning.
Maybe the Meridian Center? The arena there in Fawn Hill?
I always have a hard time figuring out perspectives of photographs.
And there it is, somebody just driving by on Highway 20.
Yeah, like that's black. That's like oil or rubber smoke. Well, condolences to the person whose vehicle that is, and hopefully there were no vehicles around it that were damaged by that. Holy cow. And you know what? Speaking of vehicles, still, I think the highest... Maybe that's not the right grammar. The most viewed video that appeared on Niagara 411 in the last week and a half is that Nissan Rogue going around that corner after being in the accident.
Yeah, crazy. The one on Bessie Ave. We just put up a post last night.
Yeah. And
Merrittville. Or Meriton, sorry.
Meriton and Bessie. And it was actually Niagara 411 folks that tracked this thing down. But my point being that it's still getting thousands and thousands of views because it's quite a spectacular piece of video. But yeah, and no follow-up yet is about. Well, I mean, I'm assuming the justice system and law enforcement is taking its course, and the vehicle was found, and the operator was found, and now the wheels of justice just keep on turning in their inimitable fashion. But that was interesting. Niagara has lifted just things that have been happening that will affect your life. Niagara is lifting its state of emergency to go in conjunction with the province of Ontario. So all of these things related, of course, to COVID-19. It was also announced yesterday that I believe as of March 21st, as the other things happen, that we will not be, either it's March 21st or April 1st. I could be wrong on the date.
For the masks?
The masks,
Yeah,
March
that's,
21st.
That's Monday. Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is the lack of necessity to have a negative COVID test to come back into Canada from across the border. Heretofore, it was first it was necessary to have a PCR test negative within 72 hours of your return to the country. Then it became an antigen test within 24 hours of coming back to the country. And then, again, Kevin, I'm not sure whether it's the 21st or whether it's April 1st, but the federal government, along with the provincial government, announced that there would no longer be a need to have proof of a negative test at all to come back into Canada from outside the country. So that will be a big help to tourism in Niagara, because it was one of the big sticking points.
Lee, I'm just reading the comments here of the program, and I'll throw them up here. And I want to apologize to Sandra Mack here. She says, bowing out, my topic not relative to discussions, conflict with police, had no idea wait so long.
What's what? I don't.
Sandra was in the green room, and I saw her there. Sandra came on the show, as we encourage people to do.
Yeah.
And she was in the green room, and it was right in the midst of when we were having Joel on the show.
Oh.
And then also NRP Constable.
Oh, so we made her wait?
Jay McCarthy. We made her wait. At one point she didn't look like she was somebody that was ready to come on the program.
Okay.
And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I just want you to acknowledge, Sandra, and I will respond to the comments, that we do encourage people to come on the show.
Yeah.
And I would have got to you in due time. The one time I did look at you, sometimes, Lee, a lot of people click on that link erroneously, thinking that's how they're going to watch the show.
Right. Okay.
So, you know, when people are there and you kind of see them.
Right.
Okay. I'm thinking, okay, this person probably doesn't want to come on the show. So I was going to get to you eventually just to see if we could talk to you and see if you were going to come on the show. By the time we got through NRP Constable McCarthy, you'd left the waiting room. If you're still watching the show, I'd encourage you to come back on, because absolutely.
Yeah, Sandra, apologies if
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, if you feel like we were ignoring you, that's the last thing that we want to give people the impression that is happening here. The very last thing. And you mentioned something good in your comment as well, is the fact that you mentioned because your topic wasn't relevant to the discussion. That is totally not necessary. We invite people to come in and change the conversation at will. So we're not married to any sort of particular topic or perspective. Your topic is our topic. You can all of a sudden come in and talk about parking lots. I don't really care, because your participation in getting out what you are interested in is important to us. So, Sandra, we apologize if we gave you that impression. That's not what we wanted to do.
I feel bad about that. Lee, want to let you know that coming up to wrap up the program, we've got a new single by a local band called Breaking Still.
Breaking Still?
Breaking Still.
Okay.
And the song is called Autopilot. And kudos to friends of the band, because they were watching last week's show and saw that we feature local bands.
Awesome.
Put in a comment and said, hey, would you guys feature Breaking Still? Absolutely. Let's get them on the show next week. So, you know, I kept my word on that. We'll feature Breaking Still here. Maybe we'll just take a peek outside on this beautiful St. Patrick's Day and kind of close things out.
We can't see Seamus. I don't know if he's still napping, or I don't see him in the pub. But the reason we didn't start off down in our in the office this week is because my assistant janitor Seamus was just having a little nap in the office, and I didn't want to disturb him at St. Patrick's Day, you know. And so anyway, we thought we would come in and help out with the bartending and stuff. But anyway, if you go by, give Seamus a wave and see if he's okay. That'd be good.
It's great to see people walking St. Paul Street again. I know the sun will bring out a lot
sleeves.
of people.
Look at this.
But, you know, we're just on the cusp of spring. Mask mandates are falling by the wayside. Look at those
nice
two
hat.
ladies.
Nice hats there.
The
the little
things going.
Thingies, yeah. Also want to give a shout out once again to Yona's Authentic Beauty. It's a great small business in Grimsby, 26 Juliana Road, specializing in things like, beauty treatments, Botox and fillers and things of that nature. Licensed nurse injector is Yona. You can find her ad on Niagara 411 and check it out. Niagara's fuel king, queen, whatever. Fueling Niagara for 50 years plus. And on into the future, Gales Gas Bars. It's been a really interesting run for petroleum companies. And next week, quickly, want to mention this, Kevin. It looks like we may, as you mentioned to me earlier, no promises right now, but have the spokesperson on for the group that is behind the LGBTQ plus corporate designation process.
It's brand new, Lee.
Yeah.
We've never seen it before. Gales is one of the very first companies to hop on board as a rainbow registered business.
Okay, thank you. That's the phrase I was looking for.
Yeah, the people that administer it are the LGBTQ plus Chamber of Commerce, and
which is new.
And there's criteria that needs to be met, et cetera, et cetera. And Gales is one of the very first to hop on board. I'm in the process to see if it's a fit for WeeStream, because we don't discriminate against anybody.
Right.
I don't. How else do you say it? We're welcoming. It's just we don't discriminate against anybody. It's, whatever.
Well, like this show, we will talk with anyone. Sandra, sorry again, at any time. That's the whole concept of this thing. So congratulations to Gales for having that designation. Probably one of the few, if not the first, in Niagara to achieve that. Also a living wage employer, which I find interesting in the fact that they're the only petroleum company in Ontario to have the designation as a living wage employer. So this is a local company, and regardless of what you think about gas prices, and none of us are happy with gas prices. I mean, let's face it. We're still talking about a local company that supports your local community. And if you got to buy gas, so you might as well buy gas from somebody that is in your own backyard, that supports your own backyard.
Yeah, paying their employees fairly.
Yeah. Performance Heating and Air, Carlo, and I do want to chat with you in the coming weeks about getting people's heating and air systems in shape for the coming change of seasons. Verge Insurance Group, always a pleasure for all your insurance needs. Home, car, personal, whatever, check out Verge, another locally born and bred company. WeeStream, Kevin, we didn't have a chance to talk a lot about you guys, but you've been busy. You do a lot of the municipal council feeds, and we're getting close to wedding season.
So we're doing some weddings. Next week we're doing something pretty interesting. We're working with PBO Group. They're on Secord Street here in St. Catharines. They've got offices, kind of peppered across Ontario. They work in prosthetics. And we're doing a Facebook Live event with them that's going to be a hybrid. So we've got specialists coming in on Zoom. It'll all be broadcast. So people that have interest in that field can go ahead and chat and interact with these specialists live via Facebook. And we make it all happen for them. So if you have a company and you've been thinking that might be a tool that would work for you, but have no idea how to navigate those waters, get in touch with me. We'll hook you up.
After you do this has taken a bit of a sidebar. After you do this show, Kevin, if there's somebody locally here in Niagara that would be a fit to talk about prosthetics and things of that nature, I saw a fascinating episode of 60 Minutes about the current modern state of prosthetic technology. Wow, it's amazing the things that can be done. So pay attention to that one. My name is Lee Sterry. I run Lee Sterry Voice Services, which is it's pretty basic. If you need a voice for anything, that's me. So, and we'll be here again next week, of course. And give us the name, Kevin, of our band. We're
going to hear from Breaking Still and their new single Autopilot. This video just put out 6 days ago.
All right, Jay McCarthy, NRPS. You are a credit to the uniform. Thank you for being here. Joel Carriere, thank you for jumping through all the hoops along with Live Nation and your bands to plan the big concert called Born and Raised Concert Series happening June 30th to July 3rd in Montebello Park. Alexis on Fire, Color in the City, and other bands and acts. That's going to be an awesome way to spend some of your summer days over the long weekend. So we thank everybody.
Peeking in there. There's our beautiful staff.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go, watching the
There's
people
Mel.
go by, but there's Mel.
If she knew she was on camera, she'd be shooting us. She doesn't want to be on camera. Too late.
But yeah, they're all dressed up here in their green, looking their best. So come down here, grab some green beer and some grub.
And some pitchers, $9 doubles and Guinness on tap.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't wait to get mine, Lee. So let's put a bow on this thing, a green bow.
All right, I'll shut up. That was Kevin's way of saying shut up and let's get off the stage. All right, here we go. See you next week. Have a good one. Bye.